Good evening, one and all. Welcome to this season 2 spoiler edition of The Last of Us. Don't know how often this is going to happen or the regularity of the schedule, but Gray and I have been talking about this as well as a bunch of other people I've been speaking with, and just kind of wanted to speak about it in front of a camera. So here we are. Last of Us is only 7 episodes this year. It was only 9 for its first run, which was 2023.
I think so.
Okay.
Sounds right to me.
Well, I forgot to introduce you, Greg. Ray, why don't you say hello to everyone?
Oh, hey, I'm Gray. Yeah, the entertainment condiment. So, yeah, it's good to be here, man.
It is. It's good. It's good to have you too. So I don't think we've spoken about this at all on my channel. So what I'll do is I'll ask you up front what your experience, just outright, just the game, the show, just what is The Last of Us for you coming into last week?
So it was a really awesome game. I definitely played that back in the day, but man, that was a while ago now. So I played it like when it first came out.
You feel
So
old yet? Because
yeah,
it's about
I was gonna
12
say I
years
think
old
that's like
now.
over a decade. Yeah. So it would have been around there. I think I was a little late to it, and then the whole controversy blew up with Last of Us Part 2. And I did not play that, but I watched a playthrough at the time so I could kind of understand what the controversy was. I got it. It kind of soured me a little bit from it. So when I heard that they were making a movie of it initially, and then that fell through, I was like, all right, whatever. The game is still the game, and you can't mess with that. And then I heard that they were making this TV show, and for some reason, I slept on it. I heard that it was this amazing adaptation of it, but I also heard the criticism that there's one episode that truly changed what they were doing with the story.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just kind of slept on it, and then I ended up watching it about a month ago
Oh, wow.
after we had
For the first
we had
time.
that conversation. Yeah, for the
Okay.
very first time, the season 1 of it. We had that conversation on The Thinkers, and I realized, I haven't, I could refresh myself on all this stuff,
Hmm.
especially since we were about to talk about adaptations. And man, I absolutely love it. I don't know why I slept on season 1, but yeah, it was kind of nice being able to switch right from that and wait a couple weeks, and then hey, we got season 2. And then also I watched your playthrough, which also happened about a month ago or somewhere around then, to also refresh myself on season 2. So that's my experience with it. Obviously, you've played The Last of Us Part 2 on your channel.
Yeah. The
Uh,
funny thing is, um, well, this is a spoiler stream, so I guess we'll try our best to only spoil episode 1 of season 2. So I'll do my best to work around things as far as the game that have happened already that maybe will or will not happen in the season. But my order is a little funny because I played the game when it first came out, and I would probably say for the last 15 years or so that could be the best experience I've had in a game, start to finish.
mhm,
Um,
for sure.
and oddly enough, I started playing the second one, but wasn't. I didn't finish the game. Like me finishing it, you can track on my channel where I did it this year. I think I only played about 6 to 8 hours of the game, part 2 that is, and had to finish it after seeing the first season. So I'm in this weird area where, oddly enough, I kind of wish I hadn't finished the game because, or at least finished it a little bit earlier because my memory sucks anyway. If I'd done that 3 months ago, I would have no such memories whatsoever. But I don't know if it was like mental preparation or just knowing that the internet very feels a very certain way and it's strong about it. Where I guess I was able to prepare for it. I was like, yeah, I would change some of the elements of the way this is told, but um, I think it's an all right story. I don't know as far as grading it as a game is concerned, because it really feels like it's storytelling. And when I think of like games, I think of boss battle. Like you're leading up to a thing, and then at the end, it's this really hard thing that you like really have to be, you know, primed for. Whereas the way The Last of Us plays out is not exactly that, because I don't know, if you're expecting like the biggest battle, have all your weapons and just have everything loaded up, like Resident Evil have all everything locked and stocked. Um, for the end, The Last of Us isn't really that. But as far as
No.
storytelling is concerned, it's a heavy hitter. But again, I don't know how a gaming audience would feel about that. Like, is that rewarding enough? I would say that as far as the story is concerned, it challenges you. And we've had this discussion a couple of times where, however you feel about the Star Wars sequels, they certainly challenge your perspective in Last Jedi. I would say, maybe it was you that brought it up, that there's some comparables with what they do in Last of Us 2 versus The Last Jedi, where they're really wanting you to be uncomfortable with some things that are happening. And I'm okay with that as long as they do it well. And I would say that they did it well. It's just the order is a little funky as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if
Yeah. I I I hear what you're saying. I kind of
here it
agree with
comes.
you, but man, like it just if you change up the way that they're kind of it just seems like it would completely change the story where they're looking for a certain shock factor and then
Yeah.
you're wanting to kind of piece it together because it's definitely not what anyone would expect out of a sequel. And I don't know. I think that to me like impacts me more than a lot of the sequels that I've previously played. Granted, I haven't played this one. I just watched you play it, and then another playthrough like a few years ago. But yeah, I don't know. I think it really is impactful, much more than like any sequel that I can think of. Like there's a bunch of them that have like killed off kind of legacy characters, uh, but nothing that's nearly as the way that things unfold in this is so much more unexpected than, say, like losing one of the Belmonts or something in like a Castlevania or something like
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
Um, to me, this is just way more impactful, and it really is about this story. And I like the way that it unfolds, and I can see that they're doing something a little bit different in season 2 of the show rather than the game. So to me, it sounds like they heard a lot of the feedback and are kind of adjusting. But maybe I'm incorrect on that.
I mean,
Maybe they're gonna go by the book right after that.
Mario Kart would hit so much harder if Peach were to get lost in that somewhere in the middle. That'd be so much more respect I'd have for that game. So with that, being so recently caught up, what were your expectations coming into season 2, and what were things that you were like, all right, I would like you to do this a little bit differently, or expand on this, or maybe not do this? Was there anything that happened in the second game, or something that happened in the first season where you were like, I don't know about that so much?
So there no, I really liked what they were doing with the first season. I really wouldn't change anything. I love the casting. I thought for sure like Pedro Pascal would take me out of it, but man, he kind of disappears in this character for me. And especially with a lot of what he was doing in this first episode of the second season.
Hmm.
Uh, what I did want them to do, which I heard the criticism of it, there's this rather large time jump in the game. It's 4 years. In the show, it's now 5 years. But you don't necessarily know what happened during that time. And I was kind of hoping when I heard that they are for sure doing 3 seasons, this one's only going to be 7 episodes, that they would kind of go back and fill in some of that in between time, which the game does, but you get kind of glimpses. I assume with a big star like with all of the star power that they have in this show, perhaps they'd want to take advantage of some of this in between time in the two games. That's quite a big jump, that 4 years in the game. So, yeah, sorry, I just Stiffkins talking about the Barney Rubble look. Thank you. Uh, but yeah, so I was really hoping that they'd kind of expand upon that, and then I was hoping that they would really show you the kind of journey that these characters are going on. That seemed to be a lot of the criticism that we encountered in that conversation, that rather prolonged one we had on the other show.
Mm.
Just man, it seemed to be that they didn't follow that these characters would still be growing. That they're not the same people they were at the start of season one or game one to where we're at now. And it looks to me like they're really fleshing that out. And I think I'm going to look forward to how they're doing that, especially with one of the announced cast members that will be joining. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. So to the show, they give you a summary of the season that happened, as most series do. Um, and they open with brand new characters, and it appears to be like a homemade grave site with a bunch of crosses, a bunch of graves, and people that we don't know. But in their conversation, you're aware that in that showdown in the hospital, that the people that they're mourning um, were people at the hospital, and I don't recall. We're introduced to an Abby character. They let us know that
Yeah.
her father is somebody that was lost, but do they say what her
We have
who?
not identified
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
I thought.
not who it is yet, just that, she seems to be acting a little bit different than the rest of these, fireflies, so there
Yeah,
seems to be something that's setting her apart, and then, they
th-
did make sure to show the giraffes so that you know that we're in that same location. So, what did that end up being? Salt Lake City, I believe? So, you can tell that they're still there at
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say
firefight.
Seattle, but that's someplace else for a different thing. Yeah, so like the cinematography does a really good job of that too, where like everything's bunched on the screen. You can see all the crosses and the Abby character is ever so slightly, but she's off to the side, and there's a clear divide there. And something that she says right before we're taken away from them is, "When we do it, uh, I want it to be slow." And you know, eh, that's kind of all you're left with as far as that group is concerned. If you're unfamiliar with the game, it's kind of cryptic. Um, and then you get a 4 years later thing that pops up on the bottom of the screen. So you're led to believe that like that little sequence, that burial is probably right after the events of season one. And then after the title sequence, or excuse me, after the 4 years later sequence, you see Ellie in something of a situation, and she's not doing too well. But in due time, you find out that it's like training or something. And there's a line where uh, she's like somewhat arrogant, but it's said that the person she was fighting was pulling punches, and that bothered her. And I don't know if there was a flashback then, or if it was a sequence in the previously on stuff. But the one thing she's angry at Joel for is for keeping things from her. And I don't know if that was meant to be a one to one there, but the fact that Ellie had some sort of confidence and later finds out that, you know, the punches were being pulled. It wasn't exactly a fight at
Did you
100%. Go ahead.
did you think that she was upset that the punches were being pulled, or that they were being pulled because I
Because
do believe
Joel
there was a line that
Joel
was
said,
throwaway that,
yeah,
like
Joel doesn't want Joel doesn't want it that way or something like that. There is something of
yeah,
a
like
like a protection, control thing that's
mhm.
happening with Joel, um
And it seems like she gets extra upset anytime his name is
yeah,
kinda brought up in
yeah,
this. Uh,
um, yeah, she's 19 now. She's in her full-blown angsty listening to Nirvana, like, that they literally give her Nirvana to listen to. She's a bit cocky, a bit arrogant. I mean, they go through that a bit more in the later portion of the episode, but she's definitely got some issues with Joel, and I don't know if it's completely due to his protection or control, or like if she's angry because if she's feeling like this, I don't know, existential crisis thing where it's just like I shouldn't be here, like this world shouldn't be happening right now. I could have saved people. Um, there was also a line. I don't know how fast or how far ahead I'm going with this, but there's a line where I don't know if it was when the fireflies and sorry, um, it was said that they were the last of the fireflies in their little exchange. Um, but
Yeah. They did kinda mention that. I do believe there was just kind of the one scene with it, and they kinda mentioned where they could go, and, yeah, so you can understand that their group was kind of decimated,
right,
but it
Th-
does seem like they have a few options, but, perhaps those options don't sound the most enticing.
forgive me. I
Abby
might.
did not seem to.
Oh yeah, she was one track mind. I might be misremembering and disheveling things out of order, but wasn't there a moment where someone talks about Ellie being, immune or something like that, and then someone else corrects that person and says, "No, that's not true, that's a rumor," or something like that? Or am I
I
misremembering?
I believe so. I think they kind of hint at it, like, even if that's true or something like that is, I think the response. So it seems like they're also unclear about it. It's, not 100% certain at this point.
Mhm. Um, so, other well, I kinda filled in what I thought. How did you feel about them introducing or reintroducing Ellie that way?
Um, I gotta be honest, it is a different Ellie than we kinda see in The Last of Us Part 2 game.
Mhm.
She's definitely more angsty, I guess, to use your term, but, she came off a lot more annoying to me, which, it
Yep.
makes sense. She's a teenager,
Mhm.
but it's she wants to do her own thing and take risks, and they kind of show that over the next few scenes. There is, I believe, right after the Nirvana scene, there's kind of the scene where she goes with Tommy and is, hunting, so
Mhm.
to speak, getting to use the scope and kinda learn, how you adjust your shot for distances. But she again starts doing the angsty thing and starts yelling out that, like she's immune or whatever after he's like, "Let's not, don't tell anyone that."
Right.
Just it seems so I don't know, teenage to me that it's like, "Okay, well, you told me to do this, so I'm gonna do the exact opposite." But, the way that she just keeps doing it in this one, it comes off as believable to me, but man, is, it annoying where I didn't get that feeling from, Ellie in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like another element that they introduced was like her. I don't know. Her status was that of special. It seems like she's in situations that other people her age or whatever would be in those situations. Like she seems to be, you know, able to talk her way into certain things, but at the same time,
Mhm.
at that special status that she has, she kind of like frowns on it when it means that, she's being protected. Like she has opportunities that she wants because of that relationship she has with Joel. But at the same time, she kind of stink eyes any situation where they're like, well, Joel wants you to like it in this 55 minutes we've seen, it seems like she's kind of resentful of anything Joel related if she is being protected. And anything else, she'll, I don't know, use that special relationship to to get access to things that she wants to do, like a high on the totem pole for scouting trips or whatever hell they were calling it when they
Yeah.
um uh,
It definitely seems like it because, the I believe it's Jesse who's, like, in charge getting them their horses or whatever. It seems like everybody else on that journey is a lot older, so I think they said, like, Jesse's, like, 4 years older, so, yeah, it definitely seems like she's, enjoying the benefits of being, Joel's daughter, essentially, but,
yeah.
it does seem to give her higher regard in this group, which, I would have to think that, anyone would kinda take advantage of that. That
Sure.
part seems pretty believable to me, but yeah, just, I I guess I like the way that she's playing it a little bit differently than the game. Uh,
I
I
think
guess they
they're
changed a lot of the characters a little bit.
sure. And I feel like they're leaning into that obnoxious teenager thing just a little hard because, like, when they're getting ready for one of their, I don't know, runs where they have to go scout. I forgot the terminology, and Jesse is telling them things. They show up late, and they're kind of disrespectful where there's other people there, and like there's this, the two special ones and the rest of the group, and I don't know if it was intentional or what, but I certainly got this. There's this vibe here that she thinks she's someone special, and it happens a couple of times over the course of that trip when they come across. Um,
Well, even before the trip, Jesse says, like, "Come on, they look up to you." Like, you are getting it. Not only are they showing you, but they're also telling you that, they're all looking up to her. She is something special in it, but, she definitely holds herself above everyone else. Yeah, the rules don't apply to her.
yeah, and on the flip side, we're introduced to Joel, who's doing more of the things I guess you could assume he was doing prior to all of this shit going down because he was a construction guy, and he's just talking about like building shit, and I'm like, whatever that, like, the town needs, I don't know. Oh, pipes. Oh,
Well, I
there's
mean,
a
his
pipe
previous
issue.
job was construction, and,
Mhm.
they need a foreman, so it seems to make sense. He's a guy who fixes things.
Yeah, it's just really
It kinda makes
boring
sense.
stuff. Like, if this were any other show, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. Uh, but it is. I understand that they're showing us what Joel would be comfortable, and he's kind of warm and open to uh, his nephew-in-law. Is that what I would call that? I don't know how to. What do
I
you
think
call that
just
kid?
nephew.
Just nephew? In-law? No, nephew, it's
Yeah,
his
because
brother.
Tommy's the
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
So, yeah, and it also shows you that time has passed because, now I'm forgetting her name, but she was,
True Blood.
the yeah, Tara from True Blood. I cannot think of, the actual character's name in, Last of Us, but, yeah, you could see that she was pregnant before. Now they actually have, like, a five-year-old kid, so,
Yep.
yeah, time has passed. But, you can see that they've all gotten kind of comfortable in this community, and it sounds like it's growing. They keep taking in refugees to the point where, they're saying, "No, we're at our max now. We do have to say no to some people,"
Yeah.
which, it's an interesting thing to be in. I happened to hear, Druckmann talking on one of his, I think it was the Last of Us podcast, but he mentioned that, this might be the last civilization as far as anyone's concerned. They don't
Hmm.
know of another one, so I didn't get that impression. I just assumed kinda, like The Walking Dead, there'd be a whole bunch of little civilizations, but
Yeah.
we don't know that.
Yeah. When that dialogue was being delivered, I was like, please avoid the low hanging fruit that is currently happening in this country. And they did for the most part. But like, if you want to make connections to current climate, I guess a little bit of it's certainly there. But at the same time, I think what they're doing, I'm an issue we've discussed with Andrew is they're giving you a reason for something that should be popping off. Like this fortress area, they're taking people in. So um, at the very least, put a pin in that because um, they've already retroactively fleshed some complaint out about the game that I don't know how big on the scale that is for people that like really have issues with the second game, but I noticed and I was
A
like,
few
okay.
issues. We also kinda glossed over, some of the actors. Joey in the chat was saying, "What do you think, do you think this was the best way to introduce Abby for people who haven't played the game before?" And I think this is a slightly different introduction to Abby, and, they went a different choice with the actress too. Now I'm blanking on her name, but
Caitlin
she
Dever.
was thank you. Yeah, I knew that you would have that because I don't for some reason. But, she was actually cast, to play Ellie when they were originally gonna do a movie. So it is kind of interesting, because the movie took so long, she actually aged out of the role, but Druckmann still had her kind of in mind. So
Hmm.
it felt like there was a lot of, complaints to the character design, of Abby from the game, and it seems like, perhaps they adjusted because of that, but it is kinda interesting that, they did kinda switch the way that, Abby and Ellie kinda look. It is kinda interesting in a way.
How important do you think that is?
You know, I kinda wish they went full into the game thing, like, I don't know, from a really cool movie last year, there was Love Lies Bleeding. I
Mhm.
think Katie O'Brien could have been a really awesome Abby, maybe use, like, a little CG to make her smaller in
So
the
you
beginning,
want the
but
internet to be completely
I
furious is what
do.
you want. Okay.
I think so I've seen her in, like, 5 different things, and I think Katie O'Brien could kill it in any role. I think she could really knock this role out of the park, but I'm liking what they're doing with this. The way that they made these choices seems to me to be implying that they actually have heard the feedback from a lot of people's complaints, and it seems like they're kind of adjusting.
Yeah.
So, I'm kinda digging it.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that, the conclusion you're coming to, we don't necessarily know if, a size difference I mean, we kind of do, but, we don't for sure know that, I I would I would hazard a guess that maybe they're going to let us know somehow that, this is Abby's, someone who's just possessed by, revenge, and some element, I would hope, is gonna be present on her character or some way, because they've been really good about filling things out. And something that I think this episode has really done well as far as setting the table is concerned, they give us two two perspectives on vengeance, and, we open with Abby and don't really have much with her character. The only thing we know is that, it's been years and she wants it to be slow. Then, we find out Joel is, in therapy, but he doesn't want anybody knowing that he's in therapy. And, Catherine O'Hara happens to be his therapist, and it's awfully cash because they're just drinking, therapist
But
and patient. It was a birthday.
again, they're fleshing out the story, and, the way that that scene, like, unfolds, man, I love me some Catherine O'Hara. Just she's awesome in everything that she does. It's weird to see, she's also in the studio, and it's a
Mm,
little over the top character.
mhm.
I really like seeing this kind of dramatic side. To me, like, just that whole scene, I've heard some people describe it as slow, and I don't know what they're
No,
watching because man, that had me, like, on the edge of my seat, every little revelation in
it's
there,
so
just
tense.
man, yeah, it got me, and then they're bringing in a character from the actual game that you don't get to meet, but, they're kind of fleshing out his backstory, so you do find Eugene's bong in the actual, game, but you don't meet this character, you find out that, he lived, his natural life, and he gotta live to old age, which, that's kind of awesome, but it seems like they're going a different route with this one, with kinda the revelation that Catherine O'Hara says, and just, man, the way that whole scene unfolds, just it
Right.
has me. And the fact that it shows that Joel is going to therapy. He's not only working on his relationship with Ellie, but he's also it seems like he's trying to work on himself. It looks like he is growing from that first character, that smuggler that, spent 20 years in this wasteland. It
Selling
seems like now
pills.
he's actually yeah. Well, it seems like now he's got, a steady job, a community that relies on him. It seems like he is a much softer man than he
Yeah.
was in the beginning.
I would even say without saying a word, you could tell he's reflective. Like I think there's a moment where both him and Catherine O'Hara they're kind of tearing up, and she confesses
That whole
that he
that
he
whole
killed her
scene is
husband,
just crazy.
and she says, "I'm angry. I don't forgive you," or something along those lines. but like she says, this is me putting this forward, um, and like all the tension in that is incredible. And you know, they show us one element of how someone's handling their vengeance, and then you have Catherine O'Hara's character here, who's sitting across from the guy that she's angry at and handling things very differently, and trying her best to, I don't know, not act on some of her impulses even while drunk, and it's just really heavy without. I mean, I don't know if that's a sequence you can put in a game and have it hit the same way.
I don't think so. To me, it really expands on the whole thing, but there's like little elements too. You see these big shoes next to her little shoes. It looks like, obviously those would have been Eugene's shoes,
Mm.
and she hasn't been able to kind of move on. Plus, the way that she's acting during this session, man, just it hits hard. And then just the little reactions that Pedro Pascal is giving towards the end of it, where he is almost in tears, but he's unable to kind of express what's going on. It's just these kind of single words that he's able to put out where she's asking, "Did you hurt her?" No, but
I
his
saved her. Didn't he
answer
say I
after
saved
that,
her?
yeah, I was gonna say his answer after that, just it is the most firm thing that he kind of says in that whole scene. It really shows that he does believe that he is convinced that he did save her. Um, to me, just that whole scene is so powerful.
Right.
I really like what they're doing with that. I think to me that means they're going to flesh out kind of the in between story. I hope we get more of that. Obviously, they hinted that Joel is the one who took out Eugene, so I do hope that we get a flashback episode. I hope it's kind of like the classic famous one from season one. I really hope it's along those lines because a really awesome actor has been cast as Eugene. Uh, I don't want to spoil it. I'm sure you could Google it out there, but man, I can't wait to actually see that
Is
character.
that the Joey Pants one?
That is, Cypher's in this
I
one,
ruined it.
so looking forward to that. Yeah, but I can't wait until we actually get to see that, and I hope they flesh it out as much as kind of the Offerman episode.
Yeah.
Just man, I think that there could be some really cool stuff going on there, but you can tell that this whole situation has been boiling for a while. So I really like the way they're kind of filling out this in between thing, and then it really seems to be fleshing out the character of Joel.
So I have a question for speculation's sake, because if we're talking about something that has been revealed in this episode, we're kind of looking forward with this. Um, do you think if they fill out Catherine O'Hara's character and her husband, if they do an episode like episode 3 from season 1, where we really get an understanding of the relationship they have, do you think it kind of stacks the deck for us as an audience feeling a certain way for Joel?
It might. I think a lot of the audience, is definitely feeling that way already. But
Sure.
I really hope they do. I hope it is as fleshed out as episode 3 from season 1. There's a reason why that was kind of. I can't remember if it won the Emmy. I know it was at least
Yeah,
nominated for it.
Offerman won an Emmy for that
I
that
thought he
episode.
did, but then I was second guessing myself as I was saying it. So thank you for the clarification on that. I hope it is something as powerful as that because I never really thought fleshing out like the Bill character would really do anything for me.
Mm.
But man, that is a powerful episode. So I really hope that they could do something like that for Eugene, who in the game doesn't have a wife. He lives to old age. So it seems like they are making slight changes in this. So I really hope that they do kind of give that character some more meat, so to speak, like they were able to in that first season.
Yeah, I mean it definitely feels like they're setting the table for Joel for as I don't want to put an asterisk around the word tame, but he's a tamer version of what we've seen. He's working in an
He's been
office.
domesticated.
Yeah, he's like hugging kids and asking about shooting monsters, and like he's the cheesy uncle. But we
Not only
have
that, but it seems like he's also, getting along quite well with, Ellie's best friend or quotation mark best friend. Um, he is,
Dina.
he seems to yeah,
Mhm.
so she knows that he is going to therapy, and he's like, "Don't tell anyone." But also, it seems like he is able to they are gonna watch that, I forget what the series is, but the, kinda '80s action flick series,
Yeah.
whatever that
Mhm.
was called. So, it does seem like, he's getting along with, a lot of people in this community, and he's softened from the smuggler that we met in that first season.
Yeah.
So,
A nice little
I think it's
touch.
doing a lot of what needed to kinda be done as far as the criticism for the, game.
Right. A nice little touch I thought they did was, like, have him inquire about Ellie through Dina without, like, he cares, but he's trying not to be, this possessive maniac,
Yeah.
but, he slips every
He
now and
still
again.
wants to know.
Yeah, like, he gives shit. He's trying to do everything he can. There's something there. I don't know if it's remorse, but there's something there that he's going through, and you have Ellie being a 19-year-old, doing her Nirvana shit, and,
They changed up a couple of things. So there's one little scene that we kinda skipped over, I guess.
okay.
So in the game, uh, Tommy definitely lets, Joel know that he did go shooting with Ellie, but in the movie or sorry, the show, he straight up lies to Joel and is like, "You were shooting by yourself." He's like, "Yeah." So I
Oh,
don't know, it's
yeah.
just, like, little changes of, I'm not sure exactly why Tommy would lie about that, if it's a possible jealousy thing or it's a little unclear, but it kinda fleshes out a little bit more of that kinda divide
Yeah.
between the 2 of them.
Was that connected to, because Ellie also wants to be a part of the guard group or whatever. She didn't wanna be on the wall,
Mhm.
and Tommy kind of helps that happen, but I don't remember if that was told to Joel either. There was some sort of behind the back stuff happening there, and it was interesting, and I guess I didn't properly think it out as fleshed out, but the
Yeah. I mean, it's just a slight change, but,
Mhm.
like, in the game, he doesn't seem hesitant to tell him that, yes, she was out there shooting with him.
Yeah,
But I
uh,
think there's a reason why he's not saying that.
on the other end too, um I don't know what content you've taken in, but, there's been suggestions based on, I don't know, thumbnails, in my algorithm that the dance, um, the I don't know, the
Yeah.
hoedown number, like, it was very important and very cringe at the same time. So,
It seems to be rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, but man, does it capture the essence of that scene, like, almost exactly. It's almost the same angle. I guess originally they had the camera on this crane and they just couldn't duplicate it, so
mhm.
the DP just, like, literally took the camera off of the crane and just put it on her shoulder and then was able to almost replicate that shot exactly. I don't know if you've seen, like, the side-by-side
I
comparisons, but
haven't.
man, it is close. They really knew the angles from that game, and they got it as spot on as they could in real life.
No, I think
But,
part
yeah.
of the benefit of that is having Druckmann and, both the writers from, by both the
Mhm.
writers and director from the game there, who are taking part
For
in the
sure.
series, so, like, he can kind of
But
one
it
for
sounds
one
like
it.
the DP just decided to do that on her own, like, she
Mhm.
just knew what they did in the game, and they're as familiar with the material as the directors are, the writers are, so, man, they just, went for it. So, it seemed awesome to me, but, yeah, I have seen a bunch of criticism on that particular scene, kinda saying that is confirmation that this show is woke. And it's like, "Okay,
That
was
is?
the game woke?" Like, it's the exact same scene from the game,
Because
with
it's
the
a
exception
kissing
of
scene, or
I guess,
because we know she's
there
gay
is
from season 1.
yeah, so the same people who are saying that that proves it's woke also said that that proves it's degenerate, so I don't know, I was watching a lot of, kinda criticism of this, and,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it gets more cruel than that,
Okay.
but a lot of it are attacks against essentially, like, Bella Ramsey.
Hmm.
It I'm not digging a lot of the criticism. It doesn't sound like it's, fair criticism to me,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
don't see anyone actually, like, saying, like, "This scene doesn't work, and here's why it doesn't
I
work."
was
It's
I was just gonna
I
say
don't like the subject matter.
I would like to hear how that scene uh, depreciates the show or a character in any way, because that's the first moment that Dina and Ellie have like there's romance there. It's the first time they kiss and like they have this exchange that again, if you're familiar with the game, this shouldn't be a surprise to you. Like I don't know why the expectations would be all right. They're going to make her straight now. Like what? Why?
Well, she grew out of the phase. I don't know. I It is interesting since, they did win an Emmy for episode 3,
Sure.
which that was kind of the criticism that I heard is like, "This show is super gay," and watching it, it's like, well, I guess if you're considering, like, showing 4 gay characters, like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe, but
I,
I don't know.
I don't think it's
I guess
forced
I just
either. I like I it,
it doesn't feel like it. It feels rather natural
I
to
would
me,
I would
but,
even say that the exchange that happens after they're kissing is a bit scaled back. In the game, like the guy who's slightly drunk, slightly intoxicated, he says something that's, uh that's the bigot sandwich guy, and he says something that's a little strong, and
spoilers, man. I think that might be coming up, but it's that guy.
oh, right. Yes, forgot about that. His line isn't quite as um bite-y. It's I think he just drops the gay D word, and that's really it. And then here comes Joel to save the day and knocks him on his ass, and Ellie's not too cool with that either. And it's an
Yeah,
interesting triangle of emotional things happening, but it's all forced. So that scene could just be
it's
taken out as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know, to see the look on Pedro Pascal's face after, she's just telling him to, like, "I don't need your effing help," I
Yeah,
believe. I can't remember the exact line, but, man, just, like, this crestfallenness comes over him, and he just realized, like, he stepped in where he shouldn't have. Just man, there's so many layers to that performance, and I'm not
right.
seeing, Pedro Pascal. Instead, I really am seeing this Joel character. I didn't expect to see that from, some of Pedro's work in the past. I kinda get this kinda goofy character that, he seems to be in real life, but, man, I'm not getting any of that with
Yeah,
Joel.
I,
He really seems to just melt into that character.
that's some of the complaints that I remember from season 1, but, um, we're at a stage where, you this is now 10 full episodes. The characters are the characters. As much as I didn't it was weird hearing Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey. I think within, like once she started cursing in the first season where she was like, "Fuck you," whatever, I was like, "Okay. All right. She may not look one to one, but this is Ellie." Like it once it started happening. The show Ellie was the same but different. They just look different. You have the game Ellie, you have this game Joel, and they're different. But isn't it nice to have little variations that can give you the tangible? All right, here's the differences between the show and the game. Because I mean, if you just want the game to play out, just watch a playthrough. I I
Yeah.
I would hope that that would be, I don't know, welcomed, but
Well, that is some of the criticism that I have seen on it is, there's no way that you could capture the performance that they have in that game, so why try? It is perfect.
meh.
And I guess it's an opinion out there, like, fair enough. I just think there's a lot of people who they would be willing to watch a show, but they're not really willing to spend the time to actually play the game, and they're not willing to spend the time to watch a playthrough of the game.
See,
So it feels like it's for a different audience.
ironically enough, the people that voice the characters in the game, they're like 3D models, are not the people whose voices they are. So, like, from the game, they're already taking things and pulling apart the actor from the character. It's uh, I don't know. Like I don't understand certain elements of uh, what some cultures or what that some communities look for, and to nitpick this as a reason to have an issue with this show. There's so much happening. Like you said, someone said that the therapy session was boring. I would have said that that was probably the most powerful emotional shit happening. And the thing at the dance sequence, there's a lot of things happening there, and I
Yeah.
feel like we're
I think
focusing on the wrong things.
I'm wondering if they aren't wanting more action. Like, so there is still some action in this
Sure.
episode. I think we skipped over the
Yep.
scene where they find the bear carcass and they realize that
Right. 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 Right.
6 of them ended up taking it down,
And that's when
and then
Ellie
they
kind of gets a
hear
little
them.
arrogant and decides
Mhm.
to go into a supermarket, her and Dina, while everyone else is like, can we just go home?"
Against the rules.
Mhm.
Again, they were told the rules. You're just a scouting party. You find anything, you come back. You get the real team to come in.
Yeah,
They decided against that. They know better.
I liked, and I imagine some people would think this is a little redundant or a little too fan servicey, but I liked the bottle. Um,
Yeah.
the shot of the bottle and them using it for sound purposes. I I dug it. It wasn't, if you don't know the game, it might feel like what the fuck? Who cares about the bottle? But like
Didn't
it's
feel forced, but
no,
man,
no.
also going with time correct, like 2003 Bud Light or whatever. Man, that was
I didn't even pick up
it's
on
a good
that.
bottle. It's the old label.
And not the
Um,
woke one. They missed an opportunity.
but, I did hear a couple complaints that, the clickers in this, they're not nearly the threat that they were in the first one,
Hmm.
which they do they have had 5 years to kind of get more used to tactics on what to do to get more comfortable with taking these out. So I think naturally they wouldn't be as big of a threat as they were in the first season,
Plus,
especially when they
I
first dealt with them.
isn't this something of a new hybrid of clickers? Like, she's hiding and shit, and,
So that's I believe, stalker, but, the initial one that they use the bottle on is there's 2 clickers
oh, right,
upstairs.
right. They stabbed one in the top floor, and, during their celebration, um, Ellie
Mhm.
fell through the floor. Right, right, you're right. I apologize.
And for saying, like, they wanted more action, man, that whole scene, that was tense. You've got the whole bottle thing, but then once you just get these awesome horror angles that
Mm.
just you can see the background, but once it starts moving, like, I love the way that they were kind of able to do that and show the threat that this new, version, this stalker, this one that seems to be a little bit smarter than the others. This evolution, I guess,
Yeah,
of
there's a
the
small stretch
cordyceps
there.
enemies.
There's a small stretch there where you don't know if it's a human or not, because some of
Yeah,
the activity she's doing, like, that's not
and the
normal for those things.
vocalization too.
Right, right.
Yeah, it just man, that really got the tension up as well. This time it's not like an emotional tension, it is an action horror movie type
Mhm.
tension. Just man, those shots. I just love the way that they were able to, get it just slightly out of focus, but you can definitely see the movement. Just man, I really love everything about the way
Some
that they filmed that particular part.
some sexy cinematography too, with, like, the oranges, but there's a hole in the ceiling and there's some slight snow coming
Mhm.
in through there. It really, really extra effort on the cinematography for that. But yeah, I if there's a complaint from the game, and this is the first series too, they don't really spend enough time on, like, fight sequences and, fighting off zombies and clickers and all this other shit. Um, I don't know. I guess I would have that complaint, but they do enough as far as storytelling and emotionally driving things that I'm okay with it. Um, do you think they need to like pick up the slack as far as these big scares and action sequences?
For me, no. I think it's a way of, and then there's more tension that they set up with like the very last shot that you know that there's even more that's going on. But well, I guess it's the last two shots.
Mm,
But for me, no. I'm guessing if somebody just wants straight up action, this is setting up a lot of what's going to happen in the near future. But
right,
I guess it's not specifically action, but to me, like, man, there is tension in almost every one of these scenes, and
right.
I'm digging where they're going. It's kind of more emotional, character based, but still, I really dig it. And then, sorry, it looks like Joey was correcting us in the game. The stalker is basically the second stage of infection. It's between the point of a runner and a clicker.
Thank you,
I
Joey.
think they went a little different with this as Ellie kind of gets in a tribunal, and is
Oh
kind
yeah,
of giving her report to them and, saying like, "No, it seems to be smarter. It's something different. It seemed to be stalking me."
and then they clarify with
Which
Dina. Is that what you saw? Uh,
yeah, yeah, sure. Um, so I think they're going a little bit different, that it might be something completely different, not just like in between the runner and clicker, but a little unclear. But yeah, you've definitely experienced them in the game. But, I really like the way that they were able to kind of film that, as you mentioned, like, with the every part of that scene, the cinematography, and it just man, it, had me on the edge of my seat. I guess a lot of this episode did. I didn't
yeah,
need the full seat.
something that I think I skated past, and if I'm bringing it up again, I apologize for redundancy. I remember when they were showing the you know previously season catch up thing. They showed the moss. I don't know what the hell to call it. When the in the streets, they were like reacting to things at the museum. There's a sequence in the beginning of episode 1 of season 2 where they crack open a pipe and there's all dirt and more of that red mossy looking shit. And it's like, okay, that's a nice little, tip of the cap to remind us that these things are still around. And there's this looming shot at the end where like we have the front end of an open pipe and there's just more of it. And it's like
Well,
going,
first, a kid drops a sparkler, and perhaps you were like me and thinking like, "Oh, they're gonna start a fire, so there's gonna be a fire in Jackson." But,
oh,
no, it's not that. Instead, out of the pipe, as you mentioned, you see these little tendrils start coming out, and,
tendrils. That's a better word.
man.
Moss.
But I think before they were just saying like, there's roots in the pipes, so, like, they hadn't, worked on them or whatever, so that's part of the, construction project that, they need to do is redo the pipes because, they've got more people living in Jackson now.
Right. And I guess one of my complaints for the first season was that element. It was important for an episode in the beginning, in the museum portion, and they don't really touch on that. Although there's a sequence where a bunch of the infected come out from the floor.
Mhm.
We're not really let known how they were aware of people, and I guess that's sort of a
So
shorthand
kind
way
of
of
a yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, that, apparently it's kinda like a hive mind thing
mm,
now. They've kind of done away with the spores, which are kind of a huge part of the game, but instead of that, it seems like it's kinda more this hive mind growing everywhere thing, and, once it knows where you are, all of them know where you are,
right.
supposedly, so I kinda dig that. It's a different element. I don't know how exactly you translate spores to on film. I guess you just do, like, CG dust everywhere, so I kinda dig this.
Yeah.
Like, it works in the game, but I kinda like the way that they've changed this up just a little bit.
Yeah, the fact that they've readdressed it and re-brought it up, unless they're making a red herring shit, but I don't think they are. I'm intrigued because I don't know what direction they could be taking this because that shit isn't in the game. So uh, w- to focus on it twice in one episode is kind of appealing to me because if I can get something new out of this, it helps for a couple of reasons. uh, already I know what I thought I was I know what I thought was supposed to happen in this first episode. It didn't.
Mhm.
So I'm already kind of like, okay, I don't hate what they've done so far. If anything, I'm kind of like, all right, the thing that I thought was going to happen, maybe they can delay it a little bit more, please.
Yeah, it still might happen,
Sure,
but
sure.
it's interesting. It does seem like they're not only fleshing out the characters, but also the character of Jackson, like that the actual,
The
place where they
town, yeah,
live.
the fortress
It
village or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're getting to know the actual place and the people a little bit better in this, so the whole world is being fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I kinda dig that idea. I'm not sure how far they're gonna go with that or if, you're gonna kinda learn more with flashback, but, I'm interested in where they're gonna go. I didn't expect them to expand that part of it, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited for that because there is definitely this, Chekhov's gun or whatever of,
Mm,
it's inside this impenetrable fortress now,
yep.
so
It's
they
in
gotta
their
do something
system.
with that.
And the way they bookend the episode is we see uh, Ellie's, excuse me, Abby's crew, uh, and they're showing up to a city. They don't exactly say that it's Jackson, but you know, and
Mhm.
they're looking over a horizon, and that's how they end episode one. That Abby's Abby's close, and
There's a couple threats on Jackson
mm,
currently, so
yep.
it's interesting. I'm not sure which way they're gonna go, if they're gonna immediately pay off one or the other, or perhaps both at the same time, but
Maybe maybe the pipes are going to take care of Bigot Sandwich, and that'll throw us all for a loop, and
It could be. They've also changed a couple of other things. There were a couple of scenes that, seem to be kind of extended in the game, and they either just gave us a taste of it or they're possibly gonna be put at a different time, like, there is some guitar playing that, I expected to see in this first episode, and instead you see Joel kinda walk into the garage where Ellie's living, and you see this kinda neglected guitar, which, does have some pretty dead strings on it. So, because he's the fixer guy, it represents more than just a guitar to him. It is kinda this idea that he passed down to her. You can see that he's going to put some new strings on it, although man, strings corrode over time. I don't think there's any new strings being manufactured, so,
Gray
I
dropping
don't
the
know.
guitar Actually's
He
on
must
us.
have the code ones. Well, I thought I would, do this smart thing of buying,
I
like, a
hear what
10
you're
pack of
saying.
strings and yeah, let's just say they rusted before I got to all 10 of the, acoustic strings, so perhaps that's me, but, yeah, so I'm assuming we're gonna see the guitar again,
Yep.
in the near future.
In the game, the guitar is a pretty high emotion item there. Like there's some serious shit that happens that's associated with that guitar. Um, yeah, it's isn't it like sort of neglected? Like it just like off to the side, and Joel's like, "Oh man, your strings are all jacked."
It's on a pile of, clothes, so it looks like they might be dirty clothes, but, yeah, I guess, from what Druckmann was saying in that thing that I watched, he spent so much time figuring out the perfect angle of the pile of clothes and then the guitar in it to make it look like it's gathering dust, but still, it's still representing a little bit something more than just a guitar.
By the way,
So he really worked on getting that kinda perfect.
if we're gonna talk about things in this universe, why the fuck are we listening to cassettes and not CDs? If we're paused on
Well, this
2003,
was 2003, so, this
CDs
is
existed.
before the year of the compact. They were still new media at the time.
Mm.
If you got a record contract, you'd lose 10% on every CD sold because it's new media, where a cassette tape, that's old media.
Yeah, you
It's
you
hard to
can wreck
say.
a
This
cassette.
is This
Like they got
is,
warped and shit?
Jackson, Wyoming, so
Okay.
perhaps, like, it was a little bit more throwback in 2003, but,
They only got color
good
television
point.
in 1997 or whatever, so yeah, I guess.
I I think the thoughts are, this is a little bit more, like, in the country, so maybe they just stumbled upon somebody's collection of tapes where they wouldn't have necessarily had a collection of CDs. You're right, though.
I
My wife and I had an argument over it. I was like, "No, those were CDs." She's like, "No, that was a box of tapes." I was like, "What?" So I had to, like, actually go back. It's like, "Yeah, you're right."
I,
Fair enough. It sticks out of my mind because I was very incorrect on it.
I just mental blockage. Uh, yeah, completely off the topic. I think it would be interesting to not have like if you were born 15 years and all you know is time being frozen. I think it'd be interesting to discover things based on, finding it. Like, how do you get into music when you like literally have to find it and it's not on the radio, it's not on the internet. It's like, oh, in this abandoned house, here's this Nirvana tape that I'm gonna instantly fall in love with.
Well, sorry, my
Mhm.
dog's bark.
You're good.
Okay, every time I unmute, he just starts barking again. Good times. That's a good question. I mean, I raided my dad's tape collection, like, when I was a kid. He wasn't big on CDs or anything like that, but,
Mhm.
man, I found some classics there, and then, maybe you happen upon somebody who was a collector. They kinda took over this town. I'm sure they had to clear out some houses. Who knows what collections people had.
Yeah,
But you're
and
right, I don't know where you'd find it in a post-apocalyptic world.
kind of leaning on needle drops a little bit. In that third episode of season one, there was a Linda Ronstadt song that became like this focal element of uh, that that romance angle. And if anything, it was slightly funny at first because the guy was trying to play it on piano and he was just butchering it. And like it was a cute little let me do this. uh,
Yeah, I I liked that. There was a few other needle drops too, if I remember right. There was a Radiohead drop thing. I think it's Everything in Its Place, because I think that would have been Kid A, so I think it would have been before 2003.
mhm.
But, man, there's a bunch of, like, interesting needle drops that they did in season 1. So, it was kinda interesting to hear Nirvana's I think it's the self-title that, she was rocking in this one, in her angsty mood in the garage. But,
just
yeah,
hating
it's kinda
dad.
awesome. It's kinda awesome that they've got some, like, really good music going on throughout this one, that it's not just well, not only that, but, we had that lovely band at the dance scene. Not only that, but,
Oh,
that kinda haunting guitar that happens all throughout the soundtrack. The dude who actually plays that was in with the band. Now I can't remember. It's,
ooh.
uh, something in the Jug Band? I can't remember what it is, but, he sits in with them, so he got to do a little cameo as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the same song from the game too, isn't it? Like when they're live at the
Yes.
I
Yeah,
knew
it's the
I
same
knew it. I
band
just
too.
don't I don't know how I know it, but I knew I knew it. I was just like, I've heard that before. Yeah, it's been interesting the way they've somehow managed to associate music with a time that none of us would have any sort of reference point to. Like there was, I don't know if you brought it up, but like when they first discover the car and they're like, uh, was it Willie Nelson? There was something that like a cassette was just in the car when they were driving across the road, like excuse me, right, driving across the country. And Joel was like, "Yeah, that one's a good one. Put it in." Uh, it's
Yeah, there's been a couple of those. I
yeah,
think, same car, there was a couple of them in there.
it's stuff like that that for a number of reasons you probably couldn't do in the game, and I would say licensing being the chief among them. But uh, it like you said about what they're doing with Jackson, it's things like that that just fill the characters. Oh.
He was whining at my feet, so I picked him up.
They're just filling it out, and making this world feel, I don't know, uh, more alive than I would have expected it to be. If you just told me to envision what I know of the games and how to make it feel more alive, I would have never figured things like that. But it's been very good. I can't say. I mean, we've kind of spoken about the entire episode, and if there's something that I missed that you wanted to discuss, by all means. But uh, as far as looking back on the episode's concerned,
Mhm.
I know I felt things and I expected things to happen. Those things didn't happen, but what we got,
Mhm.
I was completely on board with. It was just like, I don't know, expecting to have a pasta dinner and realizing that it's pasta, bread, and dessert. And it's like, okay, wasn't expecting.
Amoni.
Yeah, I didn't save room for all this, but I'll certainly eat it. And
For sure. But everything is still set up that what you're expecting could still happen,
sure,
and then it's just kinda how soon are they gonna roll that out? Are they gonna go the game route, or are they gonna go an even different route?
yeah,
It's hard to say, and then the Pedro Pascal thing, it's it's definitely an element that changes things. So, I don't know. I'm really not sure how they're gonna progress the story from here, but I'm kind of excited to, see it where I didn't think this would be one that I'm really waiting for week to week, seeing as how I waited, like, 2 years on it or something like that. So,
mm,
I don't know, man, but I'm currently digging it. I think as far as adaptations go, this is way up there for me.
yeah,
But, it's subjective.
sure, sure. Nobody's right, no one's wrong. Um, I have something
I'm
of a
wrong.
what's that?
I'm usually wrong.
Oh, don't be hard on yourself. You're sometimes wrong. um, I I I feel like what they've done in the first episode, as far as thematically setting the table up, as far as 2 ways to, because I feel like the theme of the game was part 2, that is, the theme was just vengeance,
Mhm.
just a big ball of vengeance. What they've shown us in the first episode so far is vengeance is definitely very much a thing, but they've given us 2 differing perspectives on how someone could handle their feelings for that, and, I I
Well, with
kinda
this,
dig
we're
it,
getting even more than that. We're also getting the Catherine O'Hara thing where, she definitely is feeling vengeance towards Joel, or at least some sort of
but doing it, but, it handling her emotions slightly different than, Abby's character, and as far as Ellie's concerned, I don't know what we have set up for her just yet. It's more, I don't know, trying to prove purpose. Like we open with her thinking she's something of a badass and realizing that her practice fight, it was, with someone who was pulling punches, and then they have some
getting
sort of,
beat in the store
yeah,
as
right,
well,
right. There's that moment where she's
which
like
again, we
arrogant, like, or celebrating, and it's like you're not done, and yeah, she's got something of a
well,
scare
and
in
then
that store.
the outcome of that, it would have been anyone else losing. Like, she does have an edge on everybody else here, but it just shows that, she's not necessarily where she wants to be. It's that interesting thing, I don't know. When I was 19, it's like, okay, you're a man, but are you really a man? Like, you're
Mm,
trying to find the place. I think, I can definitely see that she's going through that shit, but in this weird post-apocalyptic world,
yeah.
like you said, trying to find her place. But
Yeah, I don't know, just maybe comparing myself. I know that there was times when I was in my teens where, if someone told me something was going to happen, if I didn't experience it, I didn't believe it because I knew how I felt, and you don't know me, and I kind of have some taste of that with what they're doing with Ellie's character, where it's like, yeah, I know how I feel, and I'm strong, and you know,
There's
some
also that feeling of invincibility or
sure,
whatever, like, "Nothing
sure,
can touch me. I'm young, I'm strong,
yeah.
I'm whatever."
Plus she mentions the fact that she's
I
immune.
don't think we mentioned it, but, nice tattoo cover up. I thought that looked pretty awesome, pretty game accurate,
Hmm.
and, it was, her ex-cat who is the leader of the patrol, as, Chad pointed out. She doesn't actually get credit. I don't think you get to see her in the game, but in this one, she was the leader of that patrol that went out. So, kind
Oh,
of interesting.
I didn't even write that as a note or anything. I must have slipped to me.
I think you get to see, like, a picture of her in her journal from, the game, but,
Oh yeah, I
we get
don't
a face
stop
to
and do
go
any
with.
of that shit.
Oh, come on, you're only half experiencing the game. Did you even get into the locked safe
No.
with the, special employee of the month? Oh, come on.
Oh wait,
Yeah, there's
the dog
there's
is
a
the
few,
employee of the month,
like
isn't it? Or something like that. The bird. There's
yeah.
a pet. Yeah. All right, I
It's
have
a
seen that.
dog. It's the best boy. Good times. But, yeah, so there's a couple little Easter eggs they kinda throw in there for the people who are playing the game, but, it doesn't necessarily take you out. It's not the focus on this thing. It's just, "Hey, they've got a dog as the employee of the month."
So, looking forward, I guess I don't know if you said how you felt about the first episode and what it does for you looking forward, but what were you expecting from episode one? Did it meet it? Where did it fail? How does it factor towards the rest of the season?
From what we got with season 1, I kinda thought that, I thought they were gonna be a little bit more game accurate, so I
Hmm.
thought we were gonna hit, like, the exact beats from the beginning of it, where I I know that they fleshed out certain things, like, again, the Bill character, like, there's an entire episode for him, which is awesome. They won an Emmy for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of didn't expect that from the beginning. I assumed, since they got the go ahead to make season 1 and part 2 was already out there, they were gonna be pretty faithful to it. I think they're keeping much of the spirit of it, but I really like the way they're expanding a little bit. It seems to really make sense to me, and it seems like they're kind of, I don't know, fleshing out the parts that got the most criticism. So I'm really excited to see where they're going with this. But it's only episode 1. They could always screw everything up. I
Yeah,
hope they don't, but
I
you never know. I've been sucked in on episode 1 before.
touche. Um, I feel like if there are complaints to be had, I don't think I've seen them just yet because I'm sorry, woke, any of that shit. I don't find that valid. Like if you're telling me that something is shoehorned in and it doesn't.
You don't understand. The women were leading the scout party. That's woke. There were 2 guys there, but they weren't in charge. Yeah, I don't know. The criticisms didn't seem that great to me. Maybe there's some more substantial, valid ones out
Right,
there, but
right. I I
it
I
just seemed like nitpicking.
I my I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're complaining and like see it sucks and like that's the first thing that you bring up and it's like the thing you focus most on, it's just like that's not really substantial. That's not it shouldn't be a surprise either. Like I don't know what you were expecting then. Did you think they were going to recast Ellie and make her straight and suddenly alter the complete history of the second game? Because I don't know if that's what.
Think there was a petition to, get her recast, but I don't know how you could possibly do that, especially with the success of the first season.
Right.
Like, I think you're asking for the impossible.
Yeah, I would. This isn't Last Jedi. I think those claims are the minority. I don't think people who are complaining about things in The Last of Us, I don't think they're, as strong an opinion as they would like to think they are, because it's a very, very strong show. I,
I'm really digging it. Right now, it's definitely one of them that I'm looking forward to each week, and, I keep kinda looking like, "Hey," and it's interesting because they only sent out 1 episode to people to review.
mhm.
I wasn't lucky enough to be one of those, so I had to watch it Sunday night,
Well,
but those that were lucky enough, it's not like they're giving them like a 3 episode chunk like a lot of these shows do.
Cody,
So I
Cody, Cody Leach, very, very close friend of the
oh, that
channel.
guy?
He,
Huh.
he didn't get a screener, and the last time he got the entire thing. So it's
I really don't know what they're doing with this.
right.
I'm not sure if they're keeping it under wraps for a particular reason or I don't know. So I'm really excited to see where this is going.
I am as well. I they've somehow gotten me to feel a certain way where I'm expecting a certain thing and it didn't happen in episode 1. And they're also doing this thing where I like what they're doing as far as filling out emotions around a thing to the point where I'm like, "Ooh, it could hit harder if they
Mhm.
maybe delay it a little bit and really fill out the I don't know, the turmoil of that situation." And I don't know, I'm kind of running away with my thoughts, but it only means that, like, they've they've done a great job as far as I'm concerned, and I'm rather excited, and I was already on board. So, this is it's been weird. I haven't been fired up for a TV series like this, and this is not how I feel when I watch Dexter, so for whatever that's worth,
But the casting next time, it's gonna be it's
sure.
such a packed cast. Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's one of the reasons why I completely slept on, Original Sin, whatever the Young Dexter one was
Yeah,
called.
Original Sin.
Uh, I caught up with it. There's a lot of TV shows that,
It's the
me
best
and the wife
one
having to
since
catch up on recently.
season 7. It's been a while since Dexter's had a mid to okay series and a season, and Original Sin was okay.
It's got ups and downs.
Sure.
I really hate what they did to the character of Harry. They really it's kind of, I don't know, a character assassination of Harry, but at the same time, I'm liking a lot of the other fleshing out that they're doing of, a lot of the other characters, so we'll see. So far, way better than season 7, so I'm happy with
Mhm.
that.
Um, so looking forward, is there something that, like is there a storyline that you're particularly, like, honed in on?
So I wanna to be honest, it's kind of the new stuff. I really wanna know what's happening with Catherine O'Hara, her
Mm,
character, her husband, Eugene. I think they're going to go into the backstory. I hope that's gonna be like the Bill episode, like episode 3 of season 1.
yeah.
So we'll see. That currently has me the most excited, but I also if I remember right, Jackson doesn't seem to be nearly as fleshed out, and I don't think they have as many kids there in the game, so
Oh,
I'm kind of interested to see where they're gonna go with that, 'cause I think, perhaps it's gonna get real intense real soon.
yep, right. Um,
What
yeah,
about you? What are you looking forward to the most out of this?
I, uh I agree. I would like to see the Catherine O'Hara storyline be filled out, and I'd like to experience much more of the dynamic between her and Joel, and maybe fill out a bit more of what's going on between Joel and Ellie. And I don't know that dramatic dynamic, the give and take there. I can't have enough of it. I just give me all the spoonfuls, and I'm here for it. I was excited to begin with, and somehow they met my expectations and made me curious about things that I had no idea that I wanted more of. So no complaints here.
Yeah, I mean, other than the wrong person was leading that, you know, search party, yeah, fair enough. I completely agree. No, I have no complaints so far. I really like the way they're fleshing it out, so, I trust them. This is one of the few ones that I don't think I've seen a bad episode yet.
Right.
So,
Right.
there's always the next episode, but,
Sure.
we'll see.
Sure.
So far, this is the one that I'm kinda the most excited for, and the fact that it's only, like, 7 episods,
Yeah.
man,
In and out.
I think they could do some real damage with those. I think so, but, like, the fact that season 3 is already, like,
Green lit. Yep. It's already
greenlit
happening.
yeah, thank you. So, I mean, we're not getting part 3 yet, so I'm assuming it's gotta be that,
It
whole 5-year
has
chunk
to
where
be. It has to be. Second game is part of season 3. That would be my I mean, not an well, educated guess. I wouldn't gamble. You need money to gamble, but if I had to guess, I would say they're probably making this second game into 2 seasons here at least, or maybe 1.5. I mean, it feels like it's gonna overhang a bit.
yeah, and I'm really interested in how they're gonna do that, if they're gonna yeah, I'm really interested in
Mhm.
how they're gonna accomplish that. I think there's a couple of ways that I can think of that would make a lot of sense, but,
Right. Right.
yeah, who knows? They could also go into kind of the future of Jackson because you don't necessarily see everything after that. You kind of follow characters. So I don't know. There's a bunch of it that they could kind of expand upon. But I hope they don't go the route of like The Walking Dead and get away from source material and kind of have a drop off. So far, so good. And they've got the right people involved, people that are actually passionate about the source material. So
Preach.
I I, th- I think they're going to do something really amazing with this. I
Well,
hope.
Gray, I appreciate you being a face to talk at for this because I've been wanting to like I've seen is like thumbnails and I'm like I'm not watching this shit. I want to talk about it, and I'm glad I was able to just speak in front of a camera before the next episode because like I just wanted to have some sort of documentation of how I feel right now and be able to look back and be like, okay, so it sucked, or it's going in the right direction, or whatever. Um, and if you're watching this in the future, comment down below how you feel about what your expectations were and how you think things are going moving forward. Gray, what do you have coming up over on your side of the internet?
So, I was supposed to be launching a new show that I'm doing this weekend. However, yeah, life kind of got in the way. My wife broke her leg, my grandma broke her hip, my grandma then passed away. Uh, there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to get done, and I spent a lot of time in hospital rooms. So, that's going to be launching in May. Eventually, there will be stuff on my channel. But if you just can't get enough of me and Charles, you can always go over to that darn kidda's channel tonight in actually about a half hour. It's the Thinkers. We get together and we happen to be discussing a couple of interesting topics tonight. So one of them is objective criticism, and the other is the show, the Netflix show that kind of took the world by storm about a month ago, Adolescence. So we're going to have an interesting discussion with
Mm,
people from like 4 different countries who get together and disagree about everything, but can leave somewhat amicably. So if that sounds interesting, go on over YouTube at that darn kidda. I think we're starting in like a half hour
yeah,
or something
just
like that.
just if you're watching this live, it's about half an hour away. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're watching this in the future, you could still go over and watch
Mm,
it.
yeah.
YouTube at that darn kidda.
You could watch the VOD of it. Great. Thanks again. Thank you to Master Casalius, Joey. Dice
Ooh,
was
you
here
said
for a
it
little bit.
right.
Did I? See, I
Well,
didn't think
Dice
about it.
was bragging that Dice knew how to say the name correctly. So in Dice's face.
And Adam, thanks, guys. And again, no matter when you're watching this, just chime in. Let me know what you think and how your vibe check on season 1 or season 2 or season 1. Just both of them. Until
Just
next time,
vibes.
just vibes. I've been Charles. He's been Gray. You've been you. We'll see you